Coming to you from the land of the rising sun,
And down under.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm Jerry. And this is Relatives.
Back in action.
Ayo!
Back in action. Okay. Awkward silence.
No, because I know why it's awkward, because it has been a damn minute. It has been like a year since our last recording, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this anymore.
And we have no
confused.
practice.
No practice,
Yeah.
nothing. No script, no outline.
Oh, yeah. We do have an outline, just like not the
Not like the
whole
usual
written.
outline, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we're just gonna, do this. But there's something new, I guess, that I'm not sure people
Ooh.
notice. Some people might be listening on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Alexa, on, I don't know, Twitch. Are we on Twitch? We're not on Twitch. But on all of those platforms, but we are on a totally new platform this time. Where are we, Jer?
Hey, we are on YouTube.
With
Video. Finally.
Oh my gosh, so you
So
can
you'll
actually
be able to see us.
see our faces. Our feces.
Yes. Ew.
Poop talk.
But do not look at my background, guys. Disclaimer.
Jerry is party on the front, domestic on the back.
This is
Literally.
the only place in our house that has good internet connection. So if I go to the room, it's gonna be slow. If I go anywhere else, it's just not gonna be good.
And
So this is what y'all get.
talking about like the house, you are not in the closet anymore. Completely. Like,
Pew, pew, pew.
what is there's so much that has gone, like, I mean, so
I
many new
know.
things that
I know,
I don't know where to start.
that's what we're gonna talk about in this episode. Like, we're just gonna talk about, first of all, why did we stop doing the podcast in
What
the
happened?
first place?
What happened?
And I think there's some cousin beef
Really?
in here. Cousin meat.
Just like some weird ass beef like coming out. Really? Okay. Let's get into the itty gritty later. What happened
Yeah.
and why we're back and what you can
Yes.
expect. And we'll also be giving you a few updates on our lives, I guess.
Everything that's been going on for
the
the
past
past year.
So expect this
Damn,
episode to be
that's
10 hours
fast.
long. It's gonna be longer
Yes.
than the whole unabridged version of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Whoa. So sit down, relax, have some, coffee, tea, whatever you have there, and just
Some
listen
gin.
or watch us. Yes, gin and juice.
Personally,
What are you having? No,
gin and juice. I'm actually having this.
not sponsored.
The Lemon Craft by Kirin. It's actually a new product that I just saw on the way home. So I was like, I'm gonna get you.
Is it good?
Because I need some extra juice for this episode. Yeah, it's lemon
I
flavored
just
and it
had
has a
coffee.
7% alcoholic.
Oh, it has alcohol.
Yeah, it has alcohol,
Oh.
So I am operating on alcohol, you're operating on caffeine.
Yes. And yeah, this is gonna be a great start to season 2 of Distant Relatives.
And-
Pew, pew, pew.
And this is a surprise to Jerry, but this episode is gonna come out on a very special day.
When?
When do we usually upload? We upload on?
Tuesday.
No, we upload on Wednesdays, Jerry. Has it been that long?
Yes, it has.
My gosh.
I have terrible memory.
And what's happening on Wednesday? It's
OMG. I'm so... Is it me?
it's you.
Am I the problem?
No, you're not. Or maybe. I don't know. We're gonna find out.
It's me. It's my birthday. Pew, pew, pew.
Anyway.
Oh,
Congratulations.
sorry for my constant need of doing the horn, the honking sound. I just want to.
You know, it's so manual. I could actually just put it in later, but okay, whatever. Let's just like put it on ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we are go-getters here. We don't let other people do stuff for us. We do it with our own mouths.
Yes.
That's weird.
I am an aspiring beatboxer, but okay.
Okay, so first let's do updates, like our regular, what's been going on for the past week.
Year.
Yeah.
For the whole year.
No, week. Just the week.
Oh, just week.
Yeah.
Like they don't know what happened weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
I know, but let's just do the first week. Like what's going on like recently for us.
What has been happening? Oh, okay. So I have a little update. I had a Zoom call with my college besties because it's Leo season, aka Leo over here. So a lot of us in our friend group are actually Leos. There's like, I think 4 of us, Leo and August babies. So we just had a little call yesterday and we finished at like 3 a.m. That's why I needed coffee for this
What time did you wake up? Did you just wake up? That's why you needed coffee.
No. Well, I woke up at like 11. So I guess I had like 8 hours of decent sleep.
Okay. That's nice. And
that's my only update.
That's your only update? Okay.
for the week. Like nothing eventful
It's actually
happened.
the update within 24 hours just for you.
Yeah.
It's not. It hasn't been that long since that call. But anyway, okay.
Yes.
For me,
how about yourself?
What's my update? Well, it's pretty hot. Yesterday was really hot. I went out for work. I usually work from home, but then yesterday I went out. I went to site. It was pretty humid, and I thought I was gonna literally die. You know. While I was on the train because it was super hot and I felt so nauseous and I was like, is this the coronavirus? No, I'm not.
Oh my goodness.
Is it because of the heat or is it because of both? I'm not really sure. But it was a horrible experience. I was like, I wanted to barf, but then I just kept it in because, you know, I was on the train and I wanted to be a little bit decent. Because I'm not usually. If I was at home, I would have been puking the whole time.
Isn't it air conditioned in the train?
Yeah.
Or is it still hot?
You know, it's just that hot.
It's not
It's
enough.
not enough.
Ooh.
No, it's because
How
also
hot is hot?
it's not that. I mean, it's like 35, 36, but it's very humid. It's around 70, 80, 90 for the humidity. And the whole thing here in Japan is just, it's not the heat, it's the humidity that gets you.
Oh.
And I've been at home. I'm still working at home like most of the time, so I have my AC on, and I don't really get to experience outside a lot. So going outside for the first time is kind of a shock for me. So.
Oh. But isn't the Philippines like super humid? So aren't you supposed to be used
It's
to
not as
the
humid. No, it's
really?
not. Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, you know, sometimes I go out of my room. And then there's this like wall of humidity that just that just like hits your face and you're like yeah, I know. It's just
instant
like,
pride.
but it's kind of funny that I'm wearing this sweater, right?
I was gonna say
I'm wearing this.
You just wanted to coordinate.
Yeah, because we're in our like beautiful setup right here. If you can see, if you're on YouTube, you can see we're in our distant relatives' colors. That's right.
Cute. That's the effort. Well, at least you have air conditioning in your place, so you're fine.
Yeah, and I have a new mic, so it doesn't actually pick it up. Solid. I don't have to like suffer for recordings anymore. That's a big update.
Look at that.
Yeah. It lights up.
That's a huge update. Fancy.
Yeah.
So you better follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube so that you can actually see Kuya Kyle's fancy mic that lights up. Ooh, thanks.
And so that we can also pay for the things that we buy. We need your support. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Jerry, what happened? Why
dun, dun, dun.
did we stop? Okay, so I think there are two sides of the story. And I've actually not heard Jerry's side, and she hasn't heard mine.
Yeah, we did not discuss this at all.
It's not...
Like the whole thing we just fell out. We just... Okay, so I'm gonna tell my side.
Okay, and this is the first time hearing this.
This is the first time we're discussing this.
Okay.
Like... Because we did not talk at all after.
Yeah. Okay. So you have it here.
Okay.
First, raw, unfiltered. A little bit filtered.
Damn. Yeah. Okay, so when we started Distant Relatives, even before that, we have not been talking as much as we would like or as much as we used to. But we would just, normally react on in each other's Instagram and just like heart emojis and all that. So that's our way of communicating. So we don't really directly message each other. And when we do, it's like super rare on like random occasions.
Right.
And then on Distant Relatives, suddenly it's like every week or like 3 times, 4 times a week and stuff. So that was great. That was nice. And then...
Then... Dun, dun, dun.
No, because I felt like I was living with family back then. So I would usually most of the time follow their schedule with wherever. So... left and right, almost every week, there's something going on. There's like an event, a birthday party, a gathering. Like, we're always doing something.
Right.
And then I think I was starting work as well.
Yeah.
So I had work, and then over the weekends, I had like stuff with family. And then I just felt like I couldn't give you like the full attention that you needed because everything was just going on at the same time. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of tired and I'm kind of like, I don't have time for myself, I felt, because I just had to be with the fam, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then I just remembered on one random day, I think we had to reschedule or we couldn't do the thing that one time. Yeah. And then I was following up with you. I was like, okay, when do you wanna do the recording? When are you free? Blah blah blah. And then you were just like, oh, I'm busy. And I'm like, okay. And then after that, nothing happened. Like,
that was the last
zero.
of it.
Like 0. When you said you were busy, because I followed up like multiple times, like on different days. I was like, hey, Kuya Kyle, what's up? What's happening? And then you're just like, wow, wow. And then after a while, I would be like, hey, what's up? When are we gonna do this? And then you were just like, wow, wow. And I'm like, okay. And then we stopped talking completely.
Not completely.
Like, compared to the
yeah.
constant communication, like, we did not do it anymore.
Okay, but first and foremost, like before, okay, we didn't talk as much before we did the podcast.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
during the podcast, we did talk a lot. Like every week, we would sometimes actually fight. Not a lot of people know about this, and everything was filtered out during the whole process of making the podcast. But we had fights here and there, and there would be like misunderstandings and like disagreements along the way. But
and mini dramas.
But you know what? It's like it's normal, and like this happens a lot in our daily lives, even when we were kids. But we, it's still. I mean, we just get past it like fast. But then afterwards, there was a time like Jerry started getting busy, and then. Okay, I just wanted to say first that after we stopped, we were still communicating. I think we were communicating more than we used to before the podcast.
Oh yeah, compared to the
And I think that was one of the best things that happened during the whole process of doing this podcast, was that we continued to stay in touch, and I was very happy about that. But then we weren't doing the podcast. And honestly, okay, so no beef from my side. I just thought you were busy, okay? I felt it. I felt it that you didn't have enough time for me during this time. And I know that you had your family. I also know that you were starting your new job. And I didn't want to like be a bother in your life during this time. Like when we canceled that one time, I thought, I think I'm putting too much pressure on you. Because what we were doing for we have our own roles for this podcast, and we would do the script together, and Jerry would do the socials, I would do the editing and Facebook, right? And for that part, I felt like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be tight for you. Especially I personally didn't have much to do during that time still, because I was still working from home, and COVID was still very much rampant during those days. But I was feeling the busyness on your end, and I didn't want to be a bother on your part. So even if you were the one, you initiated like the whole update. Hey, what are we doing? When are we gonna do the recording? I said I was busy. I lied. I did. And I'm so sorry about that. But it wasn't just that. Also, honestly, I was feeling a bit burned out during that time as well. Because you were starting to grow busy. We still did our stuff. We still did the things that we needed to do. But the quality just changed a bit. We were starting to grow a bit lazy. On both of our ends.
That's
right?
true.
And I felt it. And like the topics that we were talking about started to grow a bit distant from distant relatives, if that made sense. So we were trying to do other things. We're not really sure where we were going. It was really difficult during that time. And thinking about a new episode each week got more and more difficult. So it was a mix of all those things.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, like the workload in distant relatives, Kuya Kyle is doing like 80%, while I just do like 20% of the work. And even that, I would complain. I would be like, I can't post on Instagram all the time. So we would have issues like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? It was a learning experience for myself as well. I mean, I understand. I mean, I was actually like bringing you into something that we didn't see how it was gonna grow when we started it, right? I didn't think it would turn out to be the schedule that it became when we started it. So it was kind of like, oh, I understand the pressure on you. I understand the pressure on me, and I just felt it, and I thought like maybe we should just take a break. I honestly
1 year hiatus.
It was supposed to be like a 1 week break. It slowly turned into a 2 week break. Then a 3 week break, and I was thinking, oh, maybe we can do like a Christmas special, and it didn't happen. It was like burnout and all of the other things just like piling up, and my gosh.
Yeah, because when we stopped recording, I was like telling Mike, I was telling my mom, I was like, we just stopped doing the podcast. And they were like, oh, why? And I'm like, I don't know. And that was it. But I also remember you reaching out that one time because of an email
Right.
that we got, like, of an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a good opportunity. But I don't know. I just didn't want to jump into it because at that moment, I just felt like, I don't know, like I just wanted a break as
Yeah.
well.
I understand. But you were very much willing to do it the time I asked you.
Yeah, but then like there was no initiative
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
it. Like I say, yeah, let's do it. But then after that, there's no
Yeah.
follow-up or no anything. So just
Nothing from my part as well. I was like, I also wanted to do it, but I also felt the burnout, and I also felt, there were so many things going on my end as well. And I think we're gonna talk about that with much length later on. But yeah, so basically
Yeah.
we also had that, thank you for bringing that up. That wonderful opportunity that now, I don't know if we still have, but I guess it's okay. I mean, we can do things on our own. It doesn't really,
Yeah, things are gonna come once we get back on the grind.
yeah. It's kind of weird, getting back into this whole podcast thing. I feel a bit stiff again. Like it's like the first time all over again. Like a virgin.
But amazing recommendation on the video.
Oh, yeah.
That's your idea. So, and it's such a good idea because it's nice to watch people
That's
talk.
true.
Because me personally, I'm not into podcasts. My attention span does not stay in the audio for too
Yeah.
long. But I got hooked into YouTube podcasts, and I would watch because I like seeing the people talk, and then I would actually listen for 2 hours, and I would just be like, oh, I like this, and I'd be interested. I would watch. So after like doing Distant Relatives, I started getting into podcasts more because before this I had zero podcast interest, zero. So yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the reason why we sort of fell out. So it's not because we were fighting. Nothing like that. Although maybe some people are thinking that it was because of that. Probably our family members think it's because of that. But no. We're good. It's just
we're good.
Scheduling. It's busyness. It's the pandemic. There's so many things that's going on. And now we are back. So I want to ask Jerry, what made you want to go back? What made you say yes when I asked you to like do this again with me? I'll give you time.
Cause when you were talking to me, you would tell me how people still talk to you about it, like you would still get notifications and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like people still think about it to this day. And even some of my friends would be like, what happened to the podcast? And I was like, you were listening? And they'd be like, yeah. Because nowadays, like I don't message people, hey, listen, because we just share it on our social. So I just leave it to them to actually listen if they're interested.
Right.
So I was surprised to know that some of my friends were actually like really listening. So I was like, oh, cool.
Okay, me too. Well, basically, I think what the biggest push for me was the feedback. But I think like for both of us, even during the course of the hiatus, we were trying things out for ourselves. We tried doing more, like, I don't know, you tried doing TikToks, I think. As I saw, like but not for yourself. It's like for Oliver. For me, I started streaming on Twitch. I've been posting a lot on Instagram, just clips of me singing and like doing different kinds
Yeah.
of things. You know, me and Jerry, for the longest time, even when we were younger, we just liked putting things out, like creating things. He would do. We actually made a YouTube like channel for the both of us, like doing parodies of like music videos back in the day. It's, you know, we wanted to be creative, and I think that spirit of wanting to be creative still is within us even to this day. And I think for that we are the types to just want to create
Just the
things and
two
like
of
put
us.
things out for people to see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like, we're just creative in different ways, and we just want to connect with
People.
and yeah.
I don't know.
So that's our chemistry.
I think that it's a desire that we want to, making like communities, connecting to people, creating stuff. And the biggest push for me was like the feedback from people saying that, what happened? We want you back. It's not like a lot of people. It's a group of people that just reached out. And when I was like, one day I was just like looking at our numbers, because I went back to the analytics page of the Podbean website, and I was really surprised to see that there are still people listening every month. And I'm like, this is weird. We would chart in different countries. for what reason? I don't
So
know.
you would always update me on those things, because I don't look into the numbers, I don't look into the thing, so I'm like constantly surprised that people still listen, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I just don't feel it.
And like, is our content good enough for people to listen to? That's also a big like what do you call this, inferiority complex kind of like feeling that I have. But you know what, right now I don't want to care about those things. It's funny that the numbers, me checking the numbers is one of the reasons why I wanted to go back into this, because people are actually listening. But it was also one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to stop, because it was a big source of like burnout for me. Looking at the numbers, checking it every week, seeing if we improved or not. But you know what? Right now, I think I just want to enjoy creating, and then just enjoy the whole process of like talking with you, getting feedback from our audience, no matter how small the community is. It's just, you know, there's a feeling of joy and satisfaction in that. So that is why I really wanted to come back. Yeah.
And we are glad to be back, and we hope that everyone, all our fam, we call you friends, our fam, that you guys continue listening to us and continue joining us on our journey, and we'll just keep on talking with you guys, like you guys are our friends and stuff. So we just want you guys to feel that there's a community here on Distant
and
Relatives.
Please just talk to us about it. There was one person I told, who I was talking to the other day. I told her, like, one of the few people I told that, hey, I'm thinking of like going back into this podcast game. And she was like, I didn't want to talk to you about this because I thought that maybe it would be some sort of like weird pressure on you if I push it out. But then I was like, no, thank you so much for the feedback. If it really helps us,
Yeah, we love feedback. We love like you guys just talking to us about it, or even suggestions for next episodes, or if you guys want to reach out to be our guests or whatever. Like, honestly, we're so game, and it gives us more motivation, because the reason why I'm just like this is because I didn't even know people are listening. So it's good to know for like actual people reaching out and talking to us about it. So we would love that, guys.
I don't know. Many people can see this as whatever way they want to see it, but for us, it's just a way of just fulfilling life in general. One way we can live this life out. Okay, so what can you expect here? What can they expect this season? Season 2? Can we call this season 2?
Season 2. Wah, wah, wah. Yes. Season 2 already. Like, it's insane. What can you guys expect? Honestly, just more relatable content from us both. And since there's video, like, I feel like it's gonna be more entertaining because you can actually put a face to the voice. So just more fun things. I honestly want to do a mukbang, and I'm trying to force Kuya Kyle to do it with me because he's like, why would people want to watch us or listen and watch us eat and stuff? And I'm like, that's a
But shouldn't we do that
That's
live?
ASMR.
Isn't it better live than just like a live mukbang? Is there such a thing as a recorded mukbang though?
Yeah, there's tons.
I don't know. Maybe you can just like eat on one of the episodes. It
Tons.
doesn't really have to be like just on eating. It's just us eating and talking at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't have to focus on it being a mukbang, but that's it. I would want one, and then we're gonna eat the same thing or something similar.
The same thing? How can we do that? We're on 2 different continents. What if you're eating wallaby?
Yeah, but like, why would we eat
I don't know. Don't you eat wallaby over there? No, we eat kangaroos though.
We eat kangaroos. Yeah. We eat
And what if I'm eating a whale?
I haven't eaten kangaroo.
Sorry, that is
Whoa.
controversial.
Whoa.
But no, hypothetically speaking, how are we gonna do that logistically, Jer? We're gonna figure that out for all of us.
We will.
Right.
And then we'll let you guys know.
And another thing you can expect is like this YouTube channel. So it's gonna host, I guess, like our previous episodes as well. Although those ones wouldn't have our videos on. You can find those episodes on YouTube as well. And we would be doing this like as consistently as we did before, but please do not expect it to be there every week. We're gonna do this with much quality and much grace and much grace for ourselves, you know, because we still have jobs, you guys.
Yeah.
As we could, but we would want to like put out as much as we can because we love putting out, if you know what I mean. I'm just kidding.
Ew. Anyway, moving on. So, okay. So we told them the reason why we stopped and why we're back. And I think they would like to know what has happened in the past year because that has been a long time.
What has happened? So vaccination has finally started.
Yeah.
The Friends reunion happened. The Olympics is ongoing. So many things going on. You moved out. You got a cat.
Yes.
So we'll do it one by one, right?
Yes. You first.
Okay, so this is gonna be the unfiltered part. You guys, so please just let us be for this next 10 hours of the broadcast. Okay, so let's start. When did we stop? We stopped around September, right? September last year. Was it September last year? I think it was around September. What has happened? Okay, so we've not talked about this part as well. And I think Jerry's gonna learn a lot of things about what happened to me that time. But it hasn't been a good year for me, honestly.
Oh.
So many things have happened. I'm actually visiting a psych right now because I need help.
Oh.
But it has been a good experience for me. So anyway, so the start of the year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the start of the year was pretty bad. And I think I read this on a book I was reading the other day. I'm reading this book by Malcolm Gladwell, and it talks about, there's a portion on suicide about, this is going to be like a trigger warning kind of area, but it has topics on suicide. And one of the common reasons for suicide is, depression. One of it is seasonal depression. Seasonal depression happens more during the winter season, Christmas season, especially if you're alone, away from family. And that's me, basically. So during that time, I couldn't go home because of COVID. I had plans on going home, but I couldn't. I'm alone and I couldn't celebrate it with anyone. It's Christmas. You just feel lonelier because it's Christmas. And there's so many reasons for me to have like just like completely collapsed and like wanting me to like, thoughts happened during that time for me, honestly, if I'm going to be honest. But what got me through it was my friends I'm playing with Final Fantasy right now, and they got me through it. We kept playing every day on Discord, and they would make me feel like I wasn't alone during that time. So honestly, I feel like I'm here because of those people, my family, and Final Fantasy 14, basically. If it wasn't for that game, I don't think we would have been together. So it was a pretty horrible time. And I only started going to see help recently. And it was probably around June, July this year that I started going to the psych for help. And it's been helping, I guess, because I'm able to like, talk about my feelings and see how I can improve on my situation, especially during this very tough time in my life. It's been really tough, but now I'm on the upward slope of my ups and downs. So I'm feeling pretty good, and I have more motivation to do more things, to create more stuff. And I know that it's not going to be like this forever. So it's going to be it's just part of living, I guess, part of being human. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think people are more lenient towards mental health recently, and I'm happy about that because my company has been very, very kind to me about this and understands my situation, especially because of the pandemic. So I am honestly being treated very well. I feel very blessed during this time, and although a lot of bad things happened to me, I felt so terrible. I felt like it was like the worst year of my life. And I think it's been good, honestly, and there's so many good things that are gonna happen. I don't want to see it as toxic positivity, and we talked about this in one of our episodes before, but then positivity is important right now for me, and I'll take as much as I can just so that I can continue living every day, basically.
I didn't know that you were going through like that. Yeah. So that's sad. I'm sorry to hear that. I had no idea, honestly.
Yeah, it's okay.
I remember you posting on Christmas like you were in, what's that other game, the animal farming thing?
Animal Crossing?
Animal Crossing. Didn't you have like a Christmas celebration with friends there as well? Or was that on a different occasion?
I don't really remember if it was. I don't remember that anymore. It could have been.
I remember.
Okay. Thank you for remembering.
Like you were with you were with friends celebrating something in Animal Crossing.
Right.
And then I didn't know that you were going through like tough times like that, and I'm glad that you're getting help and that you're feeling better now.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I feel like I wasn't there for you during the tough time.
Don't feel bad. Yeah. But
yeah, just reach out whenever. Yeah, cuz and I should reach out more cuz my way of showing like my way of showing affection is checking you out on social media and reacting to your stories and just being supportive. But I should reach out more and try to like ask you how you really are and just not, react.
But it's been good, honestly. I mean, we've been in touch constantly
Way
during
more,
these past few weeks. So I feel like it's been good. I mean, even during those times, you would also reach out to me. And I never felt like you were gone, honestly.
Yay. Because I would make it a point to check yours and like Jill's. Like I would always check Instagram and see and look at you both and be like, what's up with them? What are they doing?
Yeah.
I need to see what they're up to. And you would always post your singing content and I would be like, oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I love it that you're being like more out there and showing yourself more and what type of person you are, because you honestly love doing that. Even in the Philippines, you're just very musical as well, and it's good that you're showing it like online, because
I know I'm not good. I'm not the best. I'm like, average on the musical scales and charts or whatever. But I don't really want to care. I don't want to care about those things anymore. Because
my mom would always say how she loves how you play, because you play it with so much feeling and passion. Like she would cry. Like she would feel so much emotion whenever you play your thing and whenever you do your thing.
That's a good way of saying that I'm pitchy sometimes.
No.
Because I would be so emotional that I wouldn't really care about how precise my tone is. But yeah, I guess yeah.
The one thing that you shared that was really good was when you did like this musical duet with this other girl
on TikTok.
And I thought that was so good. Yeah, like that was a good like tone and pitch for you.
But yeah,
so I commend you on that.
I'm getting better, and I want to continue to be better, and I think I just want to like let go of like inhibitions towards myself, because I'm the one limiting myself because of caring about what other people think, caring about numbers, caring about like social pressures that I don't really think is necessary for me at this moment right now. Of course, to some extent it's important to be still on your guard and stuff like that, but yeah, lowering down my inhibitions and just like putting things out there has been very helpful for me and very therapeutic, I would say. And I'm enjoying it.
I love it. I enjoy your content, and I will check you out.
You're saying that because
you're
my cousin.
No. I'll check you out on Twitch, even though I don't have Twitch and I never do Twitch. So I'm just gonna follow you on Twitch. So follow Kuya Kyle on Twitch, you guys.
I've actually not talked to anyone about my twitching.
Oh, are we not?
Just like twitching like epileptic seizures
we not
and
talking
everything.
about
No, it's
twitching?
okay. So I've been twitching on my Final Fantasy. It's nothing. I mean, it's just like I'm just trying it out. It's been fun. I've not put out anything on social media. Nothing on Twitter, nothing on Instagram, nothing at all. And I just stream. And some people come in and stay with me. And people I don't know, people I've never met.
Cute.
Who would stay there and chat with me, And it's just such a good feeling to be talking to new people, honestly, especially in this time where I'm just like stuck in my room and alone. It's pretty nice. And like them saying that they enjoy the content, I'm like, what? I'm not doing anything. And they stay with me and they come back and like, wow.
Cute.
So, although I mean, I'm not really super serious and like doing the Twitch and everything, but it's been fun. I've been enjoying it because, it's a way for me to like connect to other people as well. And
That's
is
nice.
the purpose. And play Final Fantasy at the same time. So, killing two birds with one stone.
Yeah. Yeah. Win-win.
Win-win. So, yeah, Jer, come on.
Win,
Watch.
win. What? Okay, I will.
Should I put down a link? I probably should.
Yes, you should. Yes. Link down below for Kuya Kyle's Twitch.
So I guess, I mean, there's so many more that has happened to me, but I want to know a bit more about what you've been doing, Jer.
Oh. So in the past year, it's crazy. Because last year, I am where I wanted to be a year ago.
Okay.
So I was able I was able to move out
Okay.
with my husband, and we found a really nice place in the city, like in the middle of the city.
Like right
Like
dead
if
center.
you literally in this road. No.
This area.
But literally when you go out, you'll see like Darling Harbor. Like it's
For real?
it's an amazing location. Yeah.
Must be
it's-
expensive.
It is not.
Okay.
So
But-
whenever people
We're going to talk about this in one of our episodes. Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna share all the nitty-gritty details about like finding a place to stay in Sydney. So look out for that. That's gonna be a really interesting episode, guys. I have so many horror stories here. But anyway,
I want to hear it now. Okay, let's talk about it later.
yeah. So I can walk to work. So it's just like a 30-minute walk. 30 minutes is a lot. Though.
Okay,
But
in kilometers, how long is this?
how many kilometers? Like 3? Yeah, 3. Which is a pretty far walk
It
if
is.
you're going to work.
Yeah.
And during summer, it was so hot and I thought I would die because I would still walk. And when I got home that one day, I was like sick. I was like, it was insanely hot. Oh, did I burp?
It's okay.
And
That's gonna be hard to cut out with video now.
Leave it.
Leave it.
So, so I was able to move out, and then we're debt free. We paid all of our family off. I think that was an update before, but I'm just letting you guys know again. And one of our major updates is I was able to get a cat in Sydney, which is amazing. He is my baby. His name is Oliver. He is sleeping right now, so I can't really get him on the screen. But next time, so make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube so that you could see him.
Yeah, so
in one of the other episodes.
did you forget about Ginger completely though?
No, I always think about her.
And now you can actually
She's
show the
always
tattoo.
in my heart.
Unless it's in a place where you can't show
Oh my
it.
god.
Or is it? Show it.
It's here. I'll show it next time when I'm not wearing sleeves. I
Okay.
can't really roll it up.
Right.
OMG, yeah, the tattoos.
Yeah.
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 So that's a that.
That's a that.
I want another tattoo, by the way. Like, call me by your name inspired.
What would it look like?
Peach.
A peach. Very suggestive.
But it's cute.
Right.
So I want that.
You would get your peaches out in Sydney. Oh, that.
Eh. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a bomb. But it's kind of weird that, people are talking about having their peaches out.
Ew.
I mean,
Got my peaches out in Georgia. Oh. True.
That's you just realized.
True. I never really like tried to understand the lyrics. But anyway, so this is another interesting thing. So Sydney has been locked down free for a whole year. And
Yeah.
this July, we're in lockdown again.
Yeah.
Lol.
I was like super jealous of the fact that you weren't wearing masks anymore in public.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were free as a bird. Like almost 0 cases. And then suddenly someone from somewhere started spreading it in like Bondi, and then they didn't lock down Bondi like as a city or as an area, so it just literally spread, and now we have like 200 cases a day. And then we are currently in lockdown, and I don't think you know this, so this is gonna be an update for you, but I don't even know if I'll have work next week. So I honestly have not been a good place this couple of months.
Yeah.
It's been wild. Like there are times when I literally don't take a bath for like 5 days, and I just marinate in my sweat, and I do not move in one area. Like I cannot function as a person at the moment. So me dressing up like this and wearing makeup, and then this is like the ultimate effort for me right now.
Oh my gosh, I get what you're trying to say, because like back when I was super down, I mean, I would still take a bath though. I mean, but my room would be a mess.
Yeah.
Like the only things I would do, like habitually, like religiously, was skincare and sleep. That's it. I couldn't eat, I couldn't clean my room, but at least I took a bath and did my skincare.
I love how you would still do skincare. I would just like nothing. My hair would just be like this. Like
Oh, but hair care was also like bad during that time. Like my hair would be like all over the place. At least my skin was dewy and glowing.
pristine.
Everything is like drab, but then it's like sparkly right here.
Lols.
It's probably because of the oils.
It
Just
is.
kidding.
It is winter here as well, so I feel like this season is affecting me mentally, and the fact that my job is currently unstable at the moment, because my work is like concierge, front of house, so I have to be in the office to do my job well. So that's that.
I get you. I mean, like seasonal depression also comes because of like the cold, and I felt it during that time because it was cold. There's literally, it was hard to be warm, and I think one of the reasons why I am living my best life right now is because of summer.
It's hot.
The sun is out. I'm getting enough sunlight. I'm getting warm, and I just feel better because of like the heat. And it's different. The cold makes you feel different things. It makes you feel lonelier for some reason. And I don't know, like you're lucky because you're with Mike.
I know.
Yeah. Imagine if you were alone.
I know. I think about you because given the situation now, like even us together, we're not okay. And I think about you, and you're freaking alone. Like you're super strong. You're amazing. Like how can you do that?
No.
Honestly.
I never think of that for myself. I don't think of myself as strong. I just think of myself as living by bare minimum. And I
like hanging by a
thread.
pinky.
Like at my lowest, at rock bottom, I literally thought of disappearing. I'm glad that I didn't though. But yeah, so it's really hard.
Well, yeah,
really hard.
I think you're amazing. I think you're super strong, and you're doing amazing given your situation. Because honestly, living alone, when 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 you see our family always like hanging
Together.
out, having their little get-togethers, like they've been doing it more and more ever
It kind of
since
hurts,
we
right?
left.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what does that mean? What are you trying to say?
You know, I think they would not understand how we feel because we're abroad, and although they're not doing anything wrong, by hanging out together. I'm glad that they're actually close and like they have each other as support.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. Yeah.
It's really hard.
So bitter. I'm like, I'm happy for them.
So bitter. Yeah, but yeah, I also have that bitter feeling too, and it's reality. It's just real. You know, it's a feeling that I had. I didn't want to talk about it, but I really felt jealous when people were hanging out together and like doing stuff together. I guess it's part of being human. The loneliness just makes you feel like envious of their situation. I guess that's one part of like living abroad that I hate. Honestly.
Yeah.
And even if it's family.
Especially that one time, the July celebration. So everyone scheduled a call on this day at this time for the July celebrants. You included, obviously.
I wasn't there.
So I was so excited for that because that was the only thing I was looking forward to.
During that time.
Like, yeah, I took a bath that day for them.
You actually said
And
that on
then-
chat. I remember that.
Yeah. So I took a bath feeling fresh, and then I was like, okay, it's this time. I was so ready. I was there on the dot. And then what they meant was they were gonna eat at that time, so they didn't really want to include me. So even Ate Jan, who is also not in the area, she's like she's not abroad, but she's in a different
Location, yeah.
what do you call that? What do you call Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao?
A different region?
Region.
A different island. She's on a different island.
She's on a different island. So we were just chatting, waiting for the call to start, and nobody thought of including us even during the eating bit. And I was like, oh, so we're not included in the meetup. And I thought we were because it was your birthday celebration as well. So I was like, oh, we're included. It's not just them.
Yeah.
But then they were just like, after eating, we'll start the call. And I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure they didn't mean to make us feel, you know.
No.
It's just hits
But why
differently.
weren't you there?
No, I had plans on that day for myself. Because, you know, I was trying, you know, if I was alone during that time, I think I would have felt, you know, also depressed. So for the past few weeks, I've just like tried to be busy. Tried my hardest to be busy.
Okay.
It was just hard because I was also depressed during that time.
Why are we so depressed? It's sad.
No, but I think it's normal, and I think people should talk about it more.
That is true, 100%. Like even with my college besties, we've all been talking, and even them, they were like, they never realized how important mental health is, but because of COVID, everyone's mental health took a toll.
Yeah.
Like all of them got affected, even though they never thought about it before.
Yeah.
So all of us is just like trying to get by, and we've been talking about COVID a year ago, and until now it's still a big rampant issue, and that's creepy.
We're just talking
that's scary.
in different alphabets now. Delta, Lambda. It's just a different kind of like variant.
Foxtrot.
now, man. I'm still not
know.
vaccinated though. I've been trying to
Same.
get vaccinated, but it's just
I'm
really
scheduled
hard.
for October.
Okay, that's good.
Mm.
It's hard to get a schedule here.
It's just weird though. Like you guys have the Olympics. And then people just fly there, and then people congregate in like a big area.
Oh no,
So,
but the Olympics are no audience. So the audience for the Olympics are the
I know.
athletes. Just the athletes
Yeah, but
and volunteers.
I watched the welcoming thing, and there were like thousands still
I don't maybe.
in the stadium. Like, cause per country they would walk and be
Oh, I
like,
didn't watch.
Australia.
I'm actually not watching, honestly.
And then,
I mean,
yeah, so I watched it, and they were all in one stadium, and then like hundreds of volunteers like lined up as the pathway, human pathways.
yeah.
And then each country was called, and each country, for all the representatives in the Olympics, gathered in one area. And I was like, it's so weird. And then you'd see some countries with their masks like below their nose and stuff, and then you're like,
You know, there are a lot of issues with the
it's just
Olympics,
weird.
honestly. It's so hard to tackle everything. But yeah, I'm not sure. I've not actually been watching it. It's weird because it's in Tokyo, but I feel like it's being done in like a different country, you know?
I was gonna say, because the last time you updated me, you guys were in a state of emergency.
We're still in a state of
and
emergency.
then it's just weird.
It's still a state of emergency right now.
It's weird. Isn't it like a bit privileged that the Olympics gets like to go on while people aren't even allowed to go to work?
I don't know. There are a lot of mixed opinion on this issue. But as far as I know, the Olympians are in a village and they can't even get out of that village. Although there's some pasaway people, those naughty people who just, don't follow the rules. And some of the Olympians, after they win or after their game is done, they just go home. So, yeah. It's a...
Let us talk. The Philippines is amazing this year.
Yeah, I know.
Like, we've been winning medals left and right.
It's different, When they won, I felt like all my problems disappeared for a quick second. It's a different feeling, right? I don't understand the feeling of joy and pride, even if we're a problematic
and
country.
You don't even watch. We are a problematic country.
But yeah, there's some...
I wasn't even updated, and then I just saw Hidilyn win gold, and I was like, I gotta share this shit, even though I haven't seen it, even though I didn't know about her last year. But still, like, she's the first ever
gold Filipino
to win gold in 50 years or something.
Ever, right?
Like, it's been a long time.
Wasn't it ever? Wasn't she the first ever gold? Can we fact checking?
Yes.
Yeah.
She is the first ever gold. So before, I think we were a bronze winner.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I think silver was like the highest we got for boxing, I think. Yeah, but
amazing.
I know. I'm very proud.
And she won so much. Did you see her, like, what she'll get?
She deserves it, after all the ignorance she received from people she was asking support from, especially from the government.
Yeah. So many toxic comments, guys, regarding Hidilyn's win. Lol.
It's funny though that we're talking about her money. Isn't that dangerous though? Like, having it public, people could actually just like go at it and like attack her.
I was
gonna
like that. No, I think it's like public record. Like, every Olympian, like, per country, how much they'll win, or around an estimate.
Really? Okay, I don't know about.
But it's great that she has. It's great that she has free flights. She has a house and lot.
Yeah.
She has a condo.
Amazing.
And everything, and like millions of pesos, and she deserves that. And she represented our country really well.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's a topic
exciting.
of conversation even in my company. Like, we were talking about how much he's winning.
Really?
Yeah, because like it didn't come from me. It actually came from one of the people in the company. Like, she's winning a lot. I don't think like our athletes win that much for the Olympics, And I was like, really? I mean, of course they get a lot from sponsorship and stuff like that, but then it's not because of the Olympics, you know. I don't know, like how do people
I
calculate
was surprised,
for
like
these things?
I didn't know Olympians don't get salaries. I thought like they would get salaries, but apparently they're not getting paid unless they're funded by the government or by sponsors. And the only way they can earn is when they win a spot on the like either bronze, silver, or gold. But if you don't, if you're just like fourth place, you might not even get anything.
I see.
Imagine dedicating your life to the Olympics and then you won't win anything. That's so hard.
Right. My goodness, yeah. But it's still happening. It's almost done. It's kind of weird that it's almost ending. It's already August. It's almost the Burr months. And we're still here. But at least we got a new episode of Distant Relatives.
Hey.
Plug it in. Yeah. So much has happened for the both of us, I feel. And I think it's gonna be hard for us to tackle everything on this like catch-up episode. But this is like, I think the last catch-up with it was like a few days ago. But before that, we didn't actually have a catch-up.
And
we only
Yeah.
finally decided to do this episode a few days ago. Yeah, we were talking about it here and there, like, hey, maybe we should try doing it again, but then we never actually like made the final decision until recently. And that was like me commenting on one of your posts. And then we talked about, you called me because of that. And then we talked.
Oh yeah, what post
I forget.
was that? I remember.
I don't know. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah. And then I wanted to talk to you about it, and then I called you.
Yeah.
And then that was that.
That started.
I think that you were waiting for me to give like to show more initiative.
I kind of wanted that, but you know, it wasn't like a deciding factor for me because I know that I needed initiative myself. You know,
I wanted you to tell me, okay, let's do this, and I'm just a follower. Yes, aye, Captain.
I can hear you. Wait, you should follow up. There you go.
Okay.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Copyright, yes.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know. The copyright things are strange.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem because we're singing it.
Oh, you know,
Really?
even in YouTube, if you just sing the portion, you can get copyrighted now. YouTube is getting strict. Yeah. That's why I'm making the sound.
Okay. Thanks for that. I know nothing about YouTube nowadays, so by uploading this, I don't know if we're gonna breach anything, but if we do, you'll find out afterwards.
We won't.
We will find out. Okay. Is there anything else you wanna say? Or should we just talk about it on the next episodes?
What is our next episode?
I think we are going to talk about money.
Ooh, that's a good topic.
Yeah. And I don't know, we didn't talk about it last year.
Oh, I'm interested in this conversation.
Okay, I'm just going to leave everything for the next episode, so just wait for that.
Yes.
Okay, so
honestly, like, this feels so good to finally get back and do it again, because I feel like I haven't been doing anything. Like, I don't have any hobbies and I want to have a hobby. So going back and doing like the podcast again feels productive. And I hope like we can continue being consistent and
no pressure though.
We don't burn out this. No pressure.
But
and don't look at the numbers.
But I think burning out is part of the process. I don't think there's anyone who would not feel it. So let's just, take it as is, and just like if it comes, acknowledge it and just let it go.
Yeah, we honestly miss you, fam. And for everyone who stayed and has been listening to us this whole time, we really appreciate each and every one of you. And we hope that we just continue to grow and be a nice community for everyone, and just ask us questions, reach out, subscribe, follow, give us a like and stuff, and give us some recommendations if you think like we have ways to improve, like my background. But don't look at it.
I don't know, did I say it? Oh yeah, I said it. Your party in front, your domestic at the back.
That's a good one.
I love it. But
it's great to be back.
I love this process. We're gonna just continue on improving ourselves and growing as people, and I'm glad that people are part of our journeys, our individual journeys, and I'm glad I'm part of your journey, and I'm glad that you're part of mine. And let's just enjoy this. No pressure. We're just gonna continue churning out stuff that we love doing. I'm doing this as if I am.
And I love the video.
What?
And I love the video. I feel like we can connect to people more, and they can see our quirks and weirdness.
Because we're not normal people.
So I will do a cat reveal next episode.
A cat reveal. Maybe we should make an OnlyFans for this.
Ew. Please follow me. Kidding.
You're not kidding. We're not kidding. I'm just kidding. We love all types of content. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, okay. So if you have questions for us, please contact us at the email on the description below.
Or comment on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's new.
Don't forget to click on that notification bell so that you'll be notified each time we upload a brand new video.
And we're still on Instagram. We're gonna have to restart that. I forgot the password to our Instagram though. But we're gonna do that, but on a much more chill basis, you guys. We're gonna do it as much as we can.
Thank goodness gracious.
So thank you so much for the suggestions, and thank you so much for just supporting us and like continuing supporting us, and for the feedback of wanting us to return. Thank you so much. Regarding the topics that we can cover, we're gonna just like play it by ear, feel it along the way, and we have a good number of topics that we already want to talk about for this season. So your suggestions will still be very much appreciated, and your comments and everything. But, just being here with us, that's enough. Okay.
That is enough. Amazing.
Okay, so let's do... Okay, I don't want to mess this up because this is our final line. Okay, are you ready, Jer?
I'm ready.
Okay, so this has been Distant Relatives, and even if life abroad gets hard,
you don't have to go through it alone. Oh my gosh, we're dealing with the heart.
Breaking down. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.